Hey everyone, this is Disc Junkie and welcome to the Dailies. And so in today's video I thought we would talk a bit more about my collection of vintage Swedish erotica. And more specifically, I wanted to do a bit of a show and tell and just generally talk about this new website that I launched a while back. If we just go into my hidden little porn stash corner, which is in the man cave, as you know, I actually have quite a bit of books from the same publicist, a very sort of extensive collection of books and various publications from a guy named Kurt Hson. He started out in the 1950s, I believe, and went well into the 80s. Generally, he was a guy who just released porn. In this little corner of the man cave, I essentially have most, if not all, of my Kurt Hson publications. They range from all the way over here, all of these books and magazines stopping here, and then I have two more rows of books that are part of a series generally. So I've actually sorted these. You see all the spine numbers and stuff here, and just a whole lot of bright colors, which, you know, is a big part of why I really got into this. The language was just incredible, like it's so dated and cringy, and I also really like the cover art. Can't really show you a lot of these because I have to sort of pick out some of the ones that are actually not explicit, because believe it or not, pretty much, I don't know, like 70% of all these books are essentially hardcore porn books. Like they will be explicit sex novels. Sometimes there will be photo illustrations, and even on the covers, to a large extent, there are hardcore sexual images, which is also what I found so fascinating, that it's such a juxtaposition of a book that's so vibrant and sort of, you know, sort of geared towards being sold, and then at the same time it's so explicit and so beautiful in its sort of general aesthetic. So yeah, let me just go ahead and show you some of the ones that are essentially not explicit. So a lot of the times the books will have these incredibly vibrant and beautiful colors. They really liked, like, you know, the yellow and the pink and the blue, and I don't know, to me, when I first saw these, it was literally just like a new world for me, like seeing these incredibly well-designed books and magazines. This is probably something that people would enjoy, and like myself, most people have probably never heard about it. That's essentially the basis of why I wanted to start this website. And this website is only focused on the Kurt Hson stuff, because I think this is the most fascinating and also the stuff that I'm generally most into collecting. So I'm going to go ahead and actually pull up a recording of this website. So let me go ahead and move over to my computer, type in the address, which is also going to be placed in the video description. So you don't actually have to remember this, just check the link in the video description. And also, if you come to this, which is a warning in Swedish, this essentially says that, you know, the Blogger or Blogspot blogging service gives you a warning that this is a sensitive blog, meaning that it has explicit imagery, meaning XXX rated, and you just click the orange button which says I understand and I want to continue, in case you want to view this website. But be warned, if you do this, this is actually a not safe for work website, so I want to make that very clear, just in case you are underage or don't generally want to view explicit imagery. But I'm going to go ahead and click this, and this means that you actually have to log into Google, so sorry about that. Okay, there we go. So I'm also going to click the little OK button at the top, which is just a cookies little notification. So here we got the front page. It's called the Hson-Arkivet, or Hson-Arkivet in Swedish. And this is based on the Blogger service, which is a very old and outdated blogging portal. But they do have the you know, privilege of actually posting adult material, which not a lot of sort of hosting services do. I know that WordPress, for instance, has a sort of restriction against porn, so I couldn't actually run this page there. And so I've designed a website which tries to some extent replicate an old style sort of archiving folder, which I thought was pretty cool. I essentially did use a template from Blogger, but it's essentially been sort of, you know, tweaked beyond recognition, so you're not going to find a template that looks exactly like this on Blogger. We have a first sort of little tab here, which is called Introduction. And this is all in Swedish, so if you don't speak Swedish, this might not make a lot of sense, but I thought I would show you just how the page is built. So in case you want to check this website just to see the images, you can do that. Then we got a navigations tab, which essentially shows you just a bit of a description as to what these various sections are about, like just explaining what each page has. So kind of like an index description page, also with links to each section, which sort of corresponds with the tabs up here. So then we got this third tab, which is essentially posts from A through Z. And so if I click this, I actually get a generated list. It takes a bit of a time to load, but now you get a generated list which includes all of the posts in the database. And essentially each post is a new title, meaning it's a new book or a magazine or something. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of titles in here, and they are sorted alphabetically based on the post title. Each of them is obviously linked, so this is a place where you can see all the posts in one list if you want to do that. And if we just move up again and check the next one, which is called Etiketter, and this essentially translates to labels, because Blogger has this labeling system, which means that you can add labels or tags to each post, which is pretty common in the blogging community, that essentially cross-links them. If you have like two posts that are about the same topic, you can add the same label to them. Here are all my book series. Then I have like general sort of topics. So here are like all the books. Here are other books, and then we got magazines, comic books, movies, other products. So yeah, I can't obviously translate all of this, but just to give you an idea of what this page is about. And something might be interesting here is also that there is a small section for all of the years. So here you can find all the posts based on the year that the book was released. There's also the type of bindings for the books. And then below this we come to like the distributors. We get to like the printing companies. Then we also have all of the writers here. And then also scrolling way to the bottom, we got all of these sort of graphic designers like photographers, illustrators, artists, what have you. And so that's pretty much all of the stuff that I've tried to sort of cross-reference in each post using labels. And then next up we have one of the more sort of interesting and more easily accessible tabs here, which is called Bildarkiv, and this is essentially a translation of picture archive. That was the best sort of title I could come up with. So if I click this, you will see some pages here. I might have to sort of censor part of this page because it is explicit, but generally here you will see all of the posts. And if I scroll way to the bottom, there is also a link down here on the right side. There's a bottom tab, and you can see there's also a bottom tab on the left, which is blank. So if you click on the right one, this essentially says older posts. If you click there, you will get to the next page, which is essentially more posts, but they're older. So then you can scroll through the bottom again, click the older posts, and so on. And so if I scroll to the bottom here, you will also see that you have a link on the left now, which is essentially newer posts, bringing us back to the previous page. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory if you know Swedish, but if you don't speak Swedish, it might not make a lot of sense. And then obviously, if you want to see the images, you can just click on them. This will bring up like a larger image, but you can also either click the title or click this one, which says show the entire post. And this essentially brings you to the main page of that book, and here you have all of the sort of specifications like the title, the writer, the printing year, series name, yada yada yada. And then at the bottom of each post you have the various labels. So for example, here you see 1968. If you click that, you will get to all the books released in 1968. So I've been very sort of adamant and detailed about how I wanted to construct this and sort of be able to link everything together in a sort of smart way. Might as well check the last tab as well, which is other pages. There's not a whole lot of space at the top. I sort of had to limit myself. And so here are additional pages. Here we have a timeline, which I think is an interesting fact. Then we also have a page dedicated to all of these sort of various book series from this publisher. And there's also a guest book where you can write a comment in case you want to. But I think the timeline might be of interest in general, even if you don't speak Swedish. So this will have a little bit of loading time, but then it will actually generate a list which divides all of the posts into what year they were released. So this is based on a JavaScript, which I'm really happy that I found. And so here they will automatically add all of my posts into the year where they were released based on, like, I could sort these either way, but this is based on the fact that I've added a year as a label to each post. And then the script just pulls those labels and sort of, you know, shows you a section based on these are all of the posts that contain that label. So I think it's a pretty cool and clever way to create a archive which is, you know, a timeline and just providing some chronology to how all of this stuff is actually issued. So that's pretty much it. Then at the top right here you have a tab which is a bit different. This essentially just says search in Swedish. So if I click this, it actually becomes a writable or, you know, editable tab. So here I can actually type a search word like, let's see if I want to write summer in Swedish. I hit enter, then I get, you know, hits obviously based on that. So if there's a word in any of my posts containing that, you will find it. There are other pages, like I said. You got the book series page, which just essentially does the same thing as the timeline, but here it's listed based on various series of books, like all of the thickest books, which are, you know, alphabetically ordered. So in case you want to see like a specific number or something, you can do that here. And then you have the other series for other books, which I also decided to sort of categorize. And so that is pretty much it for this video. I will be posting some of these books in my secondhand sickness videos, like, you know, you've seen these, but I thought it would be fun in case you want to do a bit of a more deep dive into these books and see them uncensored, which is something I can't do on YouTube. You can visit the website and sort of try to navigate based on what I just said. You'll also find an Instagram account related to these books, which I will also link below. Thank you very much for watching, really hope you enjoyed it, and as usual, hope to see you all next time.